I think one of the trade offs that women need to be considerate of when dealing with men is understanding that a healed man is going to also be an emotional man. A man that has done the work, a man that has taken time to self reflect is very much going to understand his feelings, be incredibly communicative, have a high level of emotional intelligence. And as a woman, if you're not ready for that, you need to buckle up because they're going to force you to have conversations that you might not be personally comfortable having and look in the mirror in ways that you may not have typically had to look in previous relationships.
Hey, shout out to the content creator. I thought she really had a great message. And this is one of the messages that I've echoed when it comes to men healing, right? And one of the conversations that's not really popular on the internet is okay, let me say this. A lot of women want men to be more emotionally intelligent, to be more open to their feelings, to be more um, articulate with their feelings, right? And because a lot of us men, when we were raised, one of the things was told was, hey, you can't show emotion, men don't cry. I mean, obviously there's one-offs like deaths and stuff like that, but hey, you got to suck it up. You know, crying is weak, showing emotion is weak, and a lot of men, this is what we was raised to think. And I think there is a somewhat, I can understand the sentiment behind it, right? Because it was different times back then. But now, I think when it comes to just the way society is now, I think that you can still be strong, but as a man and still show emotion, right? And again, that don't mean you simping and crying every which way, but what it does mean is that you just more in tune with your emotions and just conscious of what's going on. So I always say this for men who are looking to level up and just change their life and just become a stronger man at that, right? When you're really in tune with what's going on with you psychologically, emotionally, and that can only make you better. But to get to that point where you're dealing with a partner and to piggyback off what she said, hey, when women are dealing with men that who understand their emotions, who are in tune with their emotions, a lot of them really don't know how to handle that. But my question to a lot of men is, how do you get there, right? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and people know my messaging. There are a lot of men who will never get there, who never arrive there, and if it's definitely stunted a lot of men's growth. And I always say, hey, a lot of people get older, but they never grow up. And I think part of that is definitely men not cleaning out their spiritual and mental closet, right? Their emotional closet. And this was something that I went through personally, right? This was something that I felt like I was really capping out. I felt like I had hit my ceiling in life. I've done a lot, but I felt like, man, it's just something's missing, right? And I knew that, well, at least for me, I knew I needed a reset, right? I needed to clean out some of the old baggage that I had. And so, yeah, I went to therapy and it totally helped me. And, three of my focus points was my mother's death, the relationship with my father, and my childhood, right? Those three things I've carried with me but never addressed until I went to therapy. And that just really changed everything because not only did it allow me to really have a space where I can just unload those items and really decipher through them, kind of ravish through it, put pieces together that I may never have made sense, and to understand how that was brought into my adulthood. With all that being said, this allowed me to emotionally connect with those three pillars, those three talking points, those three bullet points, as far as what I needed to address so I can unlock my ceiling, right? And with that being said, going through that process, this allowed me to understand emotional intelligence on how I was feeling about those things, why I was feeling those things. And then secondly, that emotional vocabulary. Because here's the thing, especially when I was growing up, you playing sports. Listen, well, let me just say this, just as a young boy going into manhood. But in sports, it was just, yeah. But a young boy going from a boy to a man, we weren't taught emotional intelligence at all. We just know how to be mad and sad. You angry or you crying. You know what I'm saying? While at the same token, women were allowed to express all their emotions. So early in their life, they went through all facets of emotions, from the highs, the lows, everything. Right? It was normal for them to cry about something, and nobody was turning a blind eye to it and or turn a cheek up to it. It was a normal thing. But let one of us get to crying, you hear that old saying, "I'm gonna give you something to cry about." You know what I'm saying? Or, "Hey, I'm gonna punch you in the chest, you keep crying." Like, these was real things that was said. So when a man finally gets to a point in their life where they're like, "Wait a minute, this might not be the right way to go about it. I actually do need to be in tune with my emotions." Again, there is strength in being emotionally intelligent. There is strength in being able to speak on how you feeling and have an emotional vocabulary, right? To articulate your feelings. There's strength in that. There's power in that. Because then you can notice things around you that make you feel a certain way. And with that, hey, I like this feeling, I don't like this feeling. Hey, let me get more of this, or hey, let me put up boundaries. You understand? So I think it's just very important that you as a man first get in tune and clean out your, like I said, your spiritual, your mental and emotional closet. And I know a lot of men feel like, "Man, I ain't going to speak to nobody, therapy, I can just deal with it on my own." That hasn't got you anywhere. You're going to feel like something's missing. Right? And especially to a lot of the older gentlemen, listen, y'all can go to church all y'all want. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can go to drink beers with the homies, the boys, all y'all want, and think just us talking about our feelings. They're not professionals, right? They don't understand to notice the nuances, to say, "Hey, let me stop you right there. Let me challenge you on that." Right? Let me push back on that thought process or what you think. That, hey, that I don't think that's correct. Let me show you why I don't think that's correct. To be able to push back on you versus just somebody being a listening ear. You follow me? So it's just very powerful to deal with a professional. So with that being said, I think that's the first step that a lot of men need to deal with, is just be getting healed emotionally. That way they can be able to speak to their feelings and what they've dealt with as kids, maybe in adults, dealing with women. You know what I'm saying? Their parents, like, it's so much to unpack there, that a lot of things we bring from our childhood into adulthood that we never deal with and never address. So that's the first thing. Now, let's say you do all that work, right? Which brings me back to the point to what the young lady was saying. Hey, when a woman is dealing with a man who's put the work in, who is healed, hey, woo, listen, she's just not going to be able to just have any type of emotion towards him, because he's going to understand what's going on, right? He's going to understand that, hey, let me put some boundaries up, because I don't like dealing with that type of emotional right now. You follow me? She's going to have a tough time dealing with that man, especially if she's not healed herself or she's never put the work in. She's going to have a tough time dealing with that man, because he's going to be able to be like, "Look, again, I'm not dealing with it." Versus before, "Oh, baby, it's all right, this and that." And he don't know what's going on. And he can't speak to how the woman's feeling or himself, or how he feels about what just happened inside the relationship. But now he know what's going on. He like, okay, this is how I want to move with it. So I just think it's incredibly powerful. Again, that men go through the process of getting healed through the emotional healing process, which is therapy, in my opinion, right? If you can find a better way, hey, do that, as long as it works. And the second part of that is, just once you get to that stage, then you know how to move in a relationship. And I think that's even powerful. Then you can say, "Hey, then you can filter better, you can vet better when it comes to the women that you want to deal with and who you actually want to marry, right? Because no one's perfect in a relationship. Just because you are, or you get to a place where, let's say, both of you guys are healed, that don't mean there's never gonna be arguments. That doesn't mean there's never gonna be any type of stress or any type of debates between you two. That's just life. No, hey, we always don't agree on everything, right? But you can come to the table in the conversation at a stronger point. That's the point of it. But if you never done the work, you're gonna keep having arguments where nothing gets fixed. You follow me? So again, shout out to the content creator. I thought she had a great message, especially for the women. But I think where I wanted to land is the men and doing the work, right? How it can have a positive impact on your life and just help you just going forward as you continue to grow as men. We never, even though we become men, we never stop growing though. And that's the point. A lot of you know something's missing. A lot of you feel like you've hit your ceiling and you need to unlock that. You need to continue to grow. If not, it's going to be, hey, man, yeah, I'm older, but I never grew up for real. So, hey, if you got a lot of value from this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and, share this video out if anybody needs to hear this message. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Much love. Peace.